Dunkers, I've actually been looking forward to this one. Slightly. Not because I've started drinking enough to enjoy Jack Black's particular brand of comedy. My student days are long behind me. Nor have I worked out why the utterly amazing Cate Blanchett has started lowering herself to this sort of film, other than speculate that she either has her eye on an amazingly fabulous flat screen, or has one hell of a parking fine to pay off. To say she outacts everyone whilst trying to phone it in is an understatement. I mean, Jack Black is still doing his Jack Black thing, which I tired of when I was drinking enough to theoretically enjoy his particular brand of comedy, and she even has believable chemistry with him as a pair of bickering warlocks instead of showing him up by simply bothering to act for 10 minutes. The main child is tolerable as, really? Louis Barnevelt? And his real name is Owen Vaccaro? Yeah, I think I'll refer to him as Barry Trotter from now on. Anyway, Barry's parents have died in an off-screen car crash. He moves in with his uncle, Black, who he's never seen before. He's a new nerdy kid at school, trying to make friends whilst at the same time becoming a wizard and trying to stop an evil wizard from bringing about the end of the world! Yeah, this plot was probably a lot more original in June 1973 when the book was written, which I've never heard of, let alone read, but it's perfectly functional in setting up a slightly quirky 1955 small-town America, with the wizards hiding from the muggles by living in a pretty cool house with loads of CGI effects with a pretty cool gothic undercurrent. But I wasn't looking forward to this film for its unique and engaging plot. No, I was looking forward to this film because of its director, a gentleman by the name of Eli Roth. And if you haven't heard of Men's Fitness, Most Fit Director in their July 2006 issue, then congratulations for making better life choices than me. I blame all that time at uni I was trying to find Jack Black funny instead of studying. For those of you lucky enough not to know who Mr. Roth is, allow me to introduce you to one of the more successful members of the Splat Pack, a group of people known for their explicitly violent and bloody horror films. Mr. Roth has directed such cinematic atrocities as Hostel, Parts 1 and 2, The Green Inferno, and this year's remake of Death Wish, which approximately 4 people saw. The House with the Clock in its Walls is not only his first adaptation of a literary work, his first gothic work, and his first family film, but is also his first film that isn't rated R. 18 in the civilized world. Get why I was looking forward to it now? This is a children's film in the gothic style, featuring magic and witchcraft, being directed by a man who has never before made a film below the highest rating that countries can give. I was deluded enough to think that this could be a Return to Oz, a Watership Down, a Land Before Time, a children's film that for once isn't about the power of friendship or CGI battles or any of it, because Roth has never had a budget big enough to have CGI anything in, with some practical effects, a gothic story, hopefully no more having to babysit my nephew for a little while, as well as a pretty cool new franchise to look forward to. 12 books equals 13 films at least, meant I was in a pretty good mood as I headed to the multiplex. Unfortunately, I'm still lumbered with a little pest, because this film failed in its objective. In fact, had I not known this was an Eli Roth film, then I wouldn't have guessed it from the film itself. Leaving aside the competent, slightly creaky but completely predictable plot, there's not a moment of creepiness or horror, or even anything approaching what it takes to stop the little brat from sleeping like a baby tonight. He's seen scarier stuff in Doctor Who. The House with the Clock in its Walls is not a bad film. It's not a particularly good film either. I mean, I smiled at the funny bits, was never bored, was vaguely concerned about the main characters, thought the villain, when he bothered to turn up, was pretty cool, and I genuinely harbour the film no ill will. It breaks up its exposition well, the training montage is tolerable. I mean, it's a perfectly competent little film that lacks the visual flair of last year's failed franchise Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which was basically Tim Burton's X-Men, but there you had a sense of threat from the villains, not some bloke who basically turns up in the last 10 minutes to monologue and confirm that this film really should have called someone about its clock problem. And whilst the CGI is very good, and I do appreciate some creepy looking puppets, and the pretty cool makeup on a few characters, a few practical effects wouldn't have gone amiss. There's only so much that even Cate Blanchett can do to elevate a film. God, I miss kids' films that were actually scary. Hell, I'm half convinced this film was released in 1984 and then again in 2016, so similar are the plot beats. Anyway, Barry Trotter and the
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey
House of Doom is a perfectly functional opener to possibly a perfectly functional franchise about wizards hiding in the 1950s. I saw it, I liked it, and will probably never think about it again. Whilst it's not the worst children's film I've ever seen, it's nowhere near the best, and I guess if you wanted to take the ankle biters, see something as a reward for getting through the first weeks of school without getting expelled, then yeah, go for it. And why this film isn't being released during Halloween half term, I have absolutely no idea. What? Goosebumps 2? Haunted Halloween? I'm going back to my student days. I'll see you next time. So this is an If Nothing Else. If nothing else is on, yeah, check this out. But what is your favourite time that a director stepped outside their comfort zone? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, it's been a Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.